Now you might wonder why kittens. Well, because what I've been doing really hasn't been good video material. It's a long, slow process, and this is putting right decades of lack of maintenance. The time-consuming stuff really is letting things go off. You know, the object is to make all this beautiful and really attractive and lovely, and if I can find some old pictures I'll splice them into the video. That's if I can find them, you know. But each piece, when you get to work on it, you find that there's problems. So there's a lot of tidying up, raking out loose render, pushing render into cracks. Now some of that is vaguely interesting if you're trying to do a job like this. For some of this I've been mixing a very, very watery render mix and brushing it into cracks rather than troweling it in. And then of course you let it dry and you mask it up and you paint round it and so on and so forth. And yeah, it really is as exciting as watching paint dry. But it's beginning to look a lot more respectable than it did. There's still lots to do, of course. And today I was putting second coat on this bit, which is why the ladder is here and why it's still there, because hopefully tomorrow morning I can do a little bit more. The weather today has, it hasn't been bad, but it's been bad if you're trying to do painting. We've had a small amount of drizzle. Can't really call it rain, but just enough that you can't be trying to throw paint on walls. But the interesting bit, well, in dealing with some of the minor cracks, the cracks that paint won't deal with, that's why there's a light patch there, mixed up some very watery render, brushed it into the crack. It's not a big crack, it's just a bit of shrinkage in the render. It's not a structural issue. But the crack was a little bit wider than paint will cover. So there I was, happily doing that, and my knees said, get off the ladder, they said. Well, you know, metaphorically, they didn't actually speak. So I got off the ladder and I thought, we'll just have a little go at some more that I've neglected. Now, I think this is going to get a little bit more interesting because there's continued movement. And if we look at this stone here, which I put some ragrillage on, that used to line up with that, or rather, that used to line up with that. And when we look at this bit, there's sorts of bits of pudding have been pushed in there that really aren't doing anything. And I think I need to do something with that. So I carried on a little bit down the wall and I had a little look, and I looked at a crack and I used a paintbrush. Now if you can make a hole with a paintbrush like that, then that tells you it wants a bit more attention, doesn't it? So I think there's some hammer and chisel work required. Look at that, I can almost put my hand all the way in there. That's not good, is it? And I think I need to put some rebar into this wall, and I haven't yet worked out how. I think it's going to involve drilling deep holes and squirting lots of resinous sorts of stuff in there, I think. But, you know, looking at this is what an engineer might call not good. Oh well, tomorrow's another day, isn't it? But as I say, it's not exciting video, is it? You know, watching a chap stirring paint and then throwing it on a wall and then finding a crack and then brushing in render, and not exciting. So I thought you might like some kittens. And, you know, just a quick sort of general shot so that when I do, if I do find some old pictures, you can see the difference. Property that it's forbidden to enter, unless of course it's yours. It's going to take a bit of exploring, a bit of looking at, a certain amount of goodwill and work and all that sort of good stuff. But this is where the Faber Farm and Glassworks will be relocating to, in the town of Azay-le-Ferron. It's an interesting building. You know, it's got these wonderful sort of dark cellars. This is where you can lock children that have been naughty.